Hello there, Saints and Patriots. Um, I'm here in not so sunny Florida. This is unusual this time of year. We just got over 3 inches of rain over the past 24 hours. Unusual because November tends to be one of our drier months here, even though we're coming to the end of hurricane season. Anyhow, um, Tuesday you had a number of gubernatorial elections, mayoral elections, and other elections. And there was people have been describing it as a red wave. I like to use the phrase red tide. If you're familiar with red tide, it is algae. It's red in color. Um, usually, we get red tide in late winter, early spring, and sometimes it goes over into summer. And there can be a large fish kill off because of this. And I want to call what happened on Tuesday red tide because it's going to put to death some Democratic political careers. The people have spoken. And this is the problem. The people have been speaking to, I don't want to use the phrase tone deaf. As a music teacher, I don't like when people using that phrase tone deaf to compare liberal politicians who don't listen to what the people are saying. I'm going to use the phrase selective auditory disorder. Selective, meaning that they're choosing. Auditory, what they hear and what they respond to. And most of what they are responding to are the people who are lining their pockets. That's who they're listening to. They're not listening to their constituency. In Minnesota, they said no to defunding the police. In Virginia, they said no to CRT. Of course, the one I love the most is the fellow who ran his campaign on $153 and won. Hello. Another, even though Democratic, went in as a write-in candidate. And when they're done counting the ballots, probably won. What's going on here? Well, this is the conclusion I came to. Since we have a number of politicians suffering from selective auditory disorder, then we have to make them listen at the polls. But that's not even working. This is how tuned out they are, is that they're labeling what happened as racist. Wait, in Virginia, the lieutenant governor runs a separate campaign. Winston Sears, black woman, former Marine. Her husband, former Marine. How do you explain that? But of course, what the liberal pundits do is they find some way to denigrate any black person with an R after their name, such as Uncle Tom's. They'll even sink as though to call them white supremacists. The Democrats are no longer making sense. And people are starting to see this, such as Joe Biden and Kamala Harris claiming that the vaccinated need to be protected from the unvaccinated. Well, the thing is that the vaccinated got vaccinated to be protected from the virus, not from the unvaccinated. And all that says, it sends this mixed message of the vaccine doesn't do what the people have been saying it does. It protects you keeps you from getting COVID. And it keeps you from getting COVID to the symptoms aren't going to be as severe, to if you get it, and all this stuff. They keep changing the rules. Kind of makes me think back a number of years. I believe this was either when Jeb Bush or Rick Scott was governor. And the whole standardized testing thing, and how they would change the rules of what the students were supposed to do, what was a level one, and so on and so forth, halfway through the school year. Who does that? It's like you change the rules, or you're in the middle of playing a ball game, and the referee comes up saying you can't do that, but you say the rule book says that I can. Oh no, we just changed the rules 5 minutes ago. You don't do that. People have lost confidence in the government. Well, the fact is that that's the problem. You're putting your trust in man, and man will time and again disappoint. You put your trust in God. God never fails. God says what he does. He might not do it the way you think he's going to do it, but he does it. He gets it done. To quote George W. Bush, get her done. This is what is, as I said, this is what it is going to take our country back. We do it at the polls. There are still some issues of cheating. If you look at New Jersey, the ballots being switched unexpectedly after 100% of the votes come in. How does that happen? You think people wouldn't notice? What has happened is, part of the problem is that the Democratic Party is in shambles. Okay? I'm going to liken it to, you have a group of people that have several tribes that cannot agree to what to do. This is what happened in South Africa, and the Dutch, and how they were able to come in, take over, and implement apartheid. Because you had all these African tribes speaking different languages, and they couldn't unite against the common enemy. And this is what's happening with the Democratic Party, because you have those that are more moderates, that are toward the middle. And you have those a little bit, not quite moderate, but Democrat. And you have those that are far left, that are trying to shove their agenda down our throats. And Americans are saying no. Into the no. Now, this is what I would think, that if it were more subtle and more gradual, people wouldn't notice. But since it's happening so rapidly, people are waking up, and they're seeing what's going on. They're seeing what is going on, and they're beginning to understand what is at stake. Now, I've said this time and again, we are in Matthew 24, the beginning of sorrows. People can push against this, but the fact is, all this was set in motion in 1948. All that we see happening right now was set in motion and has been building momentum since 1948. In 1948, Israel was reestablished as a nation. And with that, since then, more Bible prophecy has come to pass since then than in all history. So whatever has not been fulfilled will be fulfilled, which means we will, in this lifetime, get to the book of Revelation and the tribulation. That is coming. Whether it come within the next 10, 15 years or 20, 30 years later, it's coming. There probably have been times in history where it seems like we were quickly approaching the end times. It wasn't time. And the reason it wasn't time was because Israel had not been reestablished as a nation. And now it has. And here we are. So regardless whether we are able to get God to relent and hold back his wrath, the fact is, it's going to come. And I'm going to leave that comparison with Second Kings, and Second Chronicles, because Second Chronicles parallels the book of First and Second Kings, but it only focuses on the Judean kings, not the Judean and Israeli kings. Um, what we have going on right now, and I'm not sure if it was done out of order or if we're going to get another Josiah moment where we go through revival. But Biden is a Manasseh. He's wicked. He's allowing his strings. I see him as a bit of a sacrificial lamb. He's willing to take the fall for the greater good. The devil always imitates what God does. He imitates what God does. So I don't see Joe Biden as a Messiah, but the fact is that he's a pawn. He's being used. He's let himself be used. While these political people, the Democrats, the far left, I don't like the phrase democratic socialist, socialist democrat, whatever order you put it in, because to me it's an oxymoron. When you think about what socialism is and what a democracy looks like, it's oxymoron. Anyhow, that red tide is going to become more toxic in 2022 in the midterm elections if the Democrats don't take care of their selective auditory disorder and take a look in the mirror at what the real problem is. Them.